and we are live. So thank you all for joining. This is the PM Therapy Podcast. My name is Mukhtar, and I'm really excited about today's show because we're going to be talking about AI and project management. And I have a very, very special guest, Lloyd Skinner. Really excited to have you on board. So why don't we just go ahead and get started? Lloyd, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm absolutely great, thank you, and of course, thank you for inviting me to the show as well, and thank you for saying I'm a very special guest, Mukhtar, as well.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited because I really admire your knowledge when it comes to AI and project management. So I'm really excited about this conversation, and I'm sure many people are going to tune in and watch this. So, all right. So Lloyd, for those that don't know who you are, why don't you just tell us a bit about who you are?
Of course, of course. So I'm Lloyd Skinner. I'm the CI, and over the last 7 years, we've been researching and developing how to apply AI to project management. So at the that means that we've created a suite of products that all come under the title Intelligent Project Prediction, IPP. The clue's probably there in the title. The system predicts the most likely outcome of a project and compares that to what's been planned or what's been reported. If I just go back a little bit earlier than that, I was kind of sad, Mukta, at school. Even before university, I loved Gantt charts and trying to work out the critical path, the fastest way to make something happen. And it probably was attuned to my sort of mind, and I'm quite good at arithmetic and maths as opposed to some deep maths which was beyond me. So I actually went to university. I went to London School of Economics. I did a master's in information systems. But as soon as I left, I went back to this love of project planning and I'm sparing my blushes. That was a few years ago now. And so I became a planner. And then this was before PMOs existed. So they were called project offices or project support offices. I then started running project offices, and over time being responsible for support started blurring in with being responsible for projects. So I became a project manager. The projects got bigger, and then I ended up running some pretty large transformation projects for the BBC. They were award winning, buildings, technology, PMO, change, all reporting into myself as it were. More on a personal level, I'm recently married. I live in a place called Bournemouth, which is in the south coast of England. So for some of those people viewing, you'll be glad to hear that Bournemouth has a microclimate. I have a beach that is 5 minutes walk down the road, and I absolutely love it here. So it's Bournemouth people. You'll be saying.
Yeah, nice, nice. No, amazing. Congratulations on just being married. How long has it been now?
Well, coming up to a year. It's a year in June.
Okay.
So yeah, but we've been courting a little bit longer than that, but not too long. I mean, it's my second marriage as well, and hopefully nobody's listening too intently, but this one's going to be the right one. I can tell straight away. So
Of
there
course,
you go.
of course.
Yeah, of
No,
course. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. No, congrats again, and I wish you many more,
Thank you.
um, like a lot of years of just joy and bliss with your partner. Hey there, just quickly, are you looking for a PM role? Have you been struggling in this insane, crazy job market? Well, if this sounds like you, we might be able to help you. We've helped lots of people land 100 to 300K PM roles. All you have to do is just click on the link below, answer some questions. And if we see that there's an initial fit, you will be invited to a free 30-minute call where we can further assess your job search goals and challenges. And if we see that we'll be able to help you, we would explain to you how we can do that and what the next steps will be. All right, then, back to the show. Um,
Thank you.
What's one thing that people might not know about you from reading your LinkedIn profile, Lloyd?
So the thing that I was thinking about, and of course, we were lucky enough that you shared questions with me beforehand, was that one of my life's greatest moments happened in November last year, and it was a work thing. We were kind of lucky, and it's related to Greyfly. We won Project of the Year for the Association of Project Management. It was Technology and Innovation Project of the Year. However, that wasn't one of my life's greatest moments. My life's greatest moments were that was probably my second life's greatest moments. Not quite as good as when I scored the winning goal in the under 12 semi-final. We'd call it football, you might call it soccer, top right hand corner, and we went all the way into the cup and won the cup. So that's one of the greatest moments. Tell there that I'm into football brackets soccer. So I don't know what soccer is. Football, and my team is Chelsea, and we're going through quite an interesting time at the moment. Yeah, so I don't think that's written in LinkedIn, or part of it might be anyway. So
It should be. It should be. Actually, even the video with the with the highlights and everything. Nice, nice, nice.
well, somebody on the award side, somebody sent me a picture of us on stage picking the award up, and can I tell you, you've never seen a most uncomfortable looking man in his life. I was wearing a bow tie, which is very unusual for me. I had one, and it was a very grand award ceremony in a very nice hotel in London.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody else had their full sort of penguin suit on, but I went for the blue suit. So I was standing out. But yeah, no, it was fantastic. So look out for that picture if you see it.
Yeah. No, congrats, congrats. And I guess that's a nice segue to my next question. So let's talk about the AI and project management landscape, like that intersection. So first of all, can you maybe just paint the picture, like what's the state of AI right now, 2025?
I think for me, that's a really interesting question. So I've got a 15-year-old daughter who apparently, when she picks up her handheld, it's now AI. And I saw a great post on LinkedIn the other day where it basically listed everything to do with computing or information technology, networking, PCs, laptops, creation of databases, writing software. And at the top of this long list, it said legacy definition of technology. On the right hand side, it said new definition, and basically it'd written AI. I mean, basically, my point is AI is ubiquitous now. It seems to be that everything is called AI, and we can't get away from it. Whether it's on our news feeds, whether it's in conversations with your children, conversations with your work colleagues, AI is everywhere. It's really interesting. Everybody's got an opinion as well. Trust it. Oh, it's scary. The robots are going to take over, or whatever it is. So for me, it's a really interesting time around that. And if I take a step back, and it's something, if I said earlier, we've been in this space 7 years. The game changing moment in my mind was November 22, when ChatGPT came to the consciousness of the public, if you like, and really captured people's imaginations. And obviously a few months later, once it started getting embedded, we started getting scared about security and hallucinations and all of that sort of stuff. But it hasn't gone away. It's consistently, and it's growing and growing as well. So the benefit is that generative AI, which is what most people are aware of, is opening up a lot of potential in terms of searching, in terms of information retrieval, in terms of first pass document creation, etc., etc. And there's other products like, I don't know, recording meetings, translating meetings, all of that great stuff as well. For me, I think I like to speculate about where it's all going and the future of this type of stuff, and that gets really interesting. I think what we'll start to see is where technologies really start fusing together. So I don't know, robotics with AI, for example. You know, actually, I think this is sort of a dawn of an era that technology now is accelerating so fast, and the world of projects is exactly the same as well. So
Yeah. Okay. No, thanks for sharing that. So, can we maybe now talk about how you're seeing AI impacting the project management space, or maybe vice versa? Like, is there also interaction
yeah,
on the other direction, right? But yeah, could you talk a bit more about that?
yeah. I mean, the way that I like to define it at the top level is through a classification of efficiency. So trying to do more for less, or at least, the same amount of, let's call it, resources or people or money, trying to create outcomes more rapidly. Doing things right, as it were. So, I mentioned recall minutes. That's going to be a great benefit. Or, I don't know, creation of my first project charter, or my first risk log, or, translating my project requirements into test scripts, as it were. There is an infinite number of possibilities how you can apply Gen AI to project management on the efficiency side. I think the other dimension gets even more exciting if we can get this right, which is the effectiveness side. So doing the right things in the first place, or making the right decisions throughout a project lifecycle. So, for example, if you knew that a project was likely to cost £10 and you've only put in a budget for £5, as a approver of that project, I'm going to approve that project that's going to be double the budget, as it were. So I think AI will enable more empowered decision making as well. I can still ignore that, by the way, and that's another challenge. Just because I'm presented with that data doesn't mean say that I'm going to act on it. But for me, it's about that efficiency side and that effectiveness side, as it were.
Yeah. Okay. So no, I like how you sort of bucketed into those two parts, so efficiency and then effectiveness. Um, are you seeing some interesting things in the efficiency space now when it comes to you know, making things more helpful or more beneficial for project managers?
Yeah. The thing about the efficiency side, it go back to that. I know there's other large language models, but I think ChatGPT was the game changer. It, it's so accessible for us as individuals. We've all got laptops, we've all got home machines. We can all play with ChatGPT or others at our fingertips, and I think that is now starting to perforate itself through into organizations as well. One of the things I didn't mention, I get to speak around the globe around this subject, and as part of that process, I do a sort of icebreaker at the start and talk about the maturity of the audience, in terms of, have you just begun the journey, or are you an AI leader, as it were? And 2 years I've been asking that question, and I can tell you, when I first asked that question 2 years ago, there was very random, 1 or 2% of the room were higher than that bottom maturity level. Now when I ask the question. The vast majority of the room are sort of, the middle or slightly lower in terms of maturity. In other words, they're embracing AI, Gen AI, in their host organization. They're embracing it. It may be around single use cases, meeting minutes is the obvious one. It's what a time saver that is. Or maybe it is, working out what that first pass risk log is. So we're definitely seeing that uptake. I think, there are dangers there that we all run off in different directions, and it's uncontrolled, as it were. So I think some of that will start coming to the fore as well. And at the moment, large tech obviously is the earth for us, around what is capable as well, and that's probably fueling it as well. The more cautious organizations are obviously saying, there's a large media company in the UK. I asked them, what use of ChatGPT are you using? And they sort of said, oh, we're not allowed to use it, it's outside of policy. And then of course a few people in the corner just started putting up their hands, saying, oh, actually we're doing it for this. So I don't think you can prevent that use as well, but certainly the adoption is we're underway in that, as it were. So
yeah, and I mean, it's okay, if you can't share, because I know that there are some of these things are confidential, but are there any interesting AI use cases that you've seen, or maybe even helped, that you're okay, that you can talk about? But
no, of course.
Yeah.
I obviously I would talk about our use cases, if that's okay. So that intelligent project prediction that I referred to earlier, the way that works is, it's not on the Gen AI side. It's on although some of the products are, but it's more on that effectiveness side. So enabling greater decision making. And the way that works is we have to work out what project data exists in an organization. And we do what we call a data maturity assessment of that data. So what we're looking for is that data able to train machine learning models to predict the outcomes. So it's not just the data, it's the content and quality or robustness of that data as well. And even if an organization doesn't go forward with our products, there's quite a lot of benefit there, because we would assess the data and then make recommendations as to how to improve the processes. And let's face it, traditionally we weren't very good at controlling data. We didn't realize the potential of the data use. What we then do is, imagine if you've got good data, we then take that data into our environment and use it to train the models. And before we do that, we work out what's the data model that we want to use. We work out what the technical infrastructure, so working out if there's certain security protocols. Maybe we have to anonymize the data, take off John Smith's name before we highlight that John may be responsible for poor project performance. Again, there's a whole angle there, if you like. But so IPP is actually a vanilla product that is then configured to that particular organization. We take that data and we use it to predict, and then we measure the quality of that prediction based on the accuracy of the prediction. And accuracy is measured as the difference between what the prediction system said the outcome would be versus what actually happened. So if I just try and give you an example, so the project manager is suggesting the budget for a project is $10. The prediction system is saying $100. Roll forward, it turns out that the outcome was $97 or something. So you know, this is all part of providing accurate predictions, but also it's related to the change management effort as well. You know, that I don't believe the computer. So we have to demonstrate how well the prediction models are performing. The other thing that we do, as well as saying the what, is we say, so what were the features that drove that prediction? So was it, you know, back to I'm in Bournemouth, was it your projects in Bournemouth lead to delay, not only on the individual project level, but also at the portfolio level as well? So now you've got the what and why. You've guessed it. The last bit that we then provide is, well, what can you do about it? Maybe you switch, Mukhtar, from Bournemouth to the US, because obviously the project will come in at a lower price and quicker and all of that sort of stuff. So we do scenario analysis. More recently, we then also do things like, well, serving the right lessons and the right risks. So right up front in a project, you know what the most likely outcome is, you know why that's the most likely outcome, and you know what you can do about it as well. What we won the awards for. So you know, that's a real case study right there.
Yeah. So just quickly, what kind of data? So I'm just curious, what kind of data are you using to train the model? Like, yeah, could you shed more light?
Yeah. So of course. So data typically feeds into 4 sort of buckets. The first set of data is schedule, finance, and resource. So because we're predicting the big outcome, so if I give finance as the example, what we're looking for at the start is the original budget, the latest agreed budget, the spend to date, the actuals, and the forecast to complete. And of course, we ingest that on a monthly basis as well. So it gives you an idea. Finance, schedule, and resource. Similarly on the schedule, you know, baseline, go live, forecast, go live, etc. Sitting around that, we're looking for a set of features around a project or attributes of a project. So you know, you can start thinking about features. They could be many a different way of saying project type. Is it a technology project? Is it a property project? Who's the customer? What sector they in? What's the scale of approvals? Who's the project manager? Is there a change impact? Is there delivery complexity? So if you imagine lots of different ways of categorizing a project, and then what that allows us to do is basically pattern recognition to be able to then feed these ML models to predict the outcomes, as it were. And you know, it's something we've been doing for many a year, is trying to predict the outcomes of projects. It's just that we've proved the machine learning is far more accurate, you know, and you can do it more rapidly as well, you know.
Interesting. No, that's very helpful. And what are the outcomes that we are that you're predicting?
Yeah. I'm so glad you asked that. There's the outcome is, you know, what's the likely budget, what's the likely go live, what's the likely resource effort. But if I then take outcome from a benefit point of view, what we've demonstrated, and this is on the total portfolio value, is that we've unlocked 6.4% of overspend. So let me just get your head around that a second. If your portfolio is worth $300 million, yeah, and it's overspending, yeah, by 6.4%, you know, that's circa $19 million saving that we've proved you're making. And just think what you could do with that extra $19 million. You know, maybe you just take it away, maybe you give it back to the mothership. But hopefully this isn't about job losses, this is about doing more. So now we can do another project, as it were. So yeah, I think there's the outcome of the system, yeah, but then there's also the outcome for the business.
Yeah.
Well,
okay, no, that's helpful, and just want to make sure that I really understood, you know, the flow. So you train with data. You make sure that data is high quality, and you're feeding in things like, you know, the schedule, the types of project, you know, things that details that are pertinent to that project, and then that sort of trains your prediction model,
yes.
and then in the future, when you have a project, you run it through that model, and then it spits out possible outcomes. And one of the outcomes could be this is going to be over budget by X amount, right? And then with that, you can correct and make decisions. Did I get that flow correct?
Yeah, absolutely, and I think what I would just say is it's not just in the future, but it's live projects as well. Yeah, so you know, the hurdle for us, the technical hurdle, because it's probably worth a conversation about the human side as well. The technical hurdle is the first time you do this to train those models to be accurate. Actually, we have to maintain that accuracy as well. But the technical hurdle is about training those models the first time. I should just mention the human side because, you know, for me, it's so important when you're adopting any technology. I know we're talking about AI, but any technology, you know, yes, there's a technical challenge, data, new technology, infrastructure, that, but sitting alongside that, there must be a change piece or an adoption piece. You know, you imagine me suddenly presenting to a highly experienced project director that their project is likely to be over budget. You know, they're instantly, you know, they're going to say no and show me. So you know, within the system, you can do explainability, we call it. So, you know, here's the evidence that these similar types of projects are late. But the other thing is you need to build their awareness as to how you're going to work with this type of technology, how you're going to embed it within workflows. You know, on the delivery side, maybe it's part of that progress review, or on the not yet started side, maybe it's part of the business case approval side. So how you adopt technology, you know, communications, training, all of that stuff is as important for adoption, as it were.
No, and this leads me, it's a nice segue to my next point, which is challenges and opportunities. But I'm just gonna remind the audience, so please do ask your questions in the in the chat, and then we will get to them towards the end. So you mentioned change management. Change management is such an important piece of, you know, adopting any technology, right? So first question, I guess this is the elephant in the room. Should PMs be worried about AI?
It's an interesting question, and first of all, let's just allay any fears. Today, and tomorrow, you definitely don't need to be worried about AI. What you do need to be is thinking about how you're going to adopt and how you're going to use it. I think it gets more interesting when you start thinking about time horizons, and think, you know, obviously I'm a young man, I've probably got another 100 years in me. Yeah. I can imagine the role of me as a project manager in 100 years' time will be fundamentally different. And I can imagine that the vast majority of the projects will either be automated because they're simple enough to automate, and the human just pops up by exception. Yeah, even then, the systems will probably look to manage that exception as well. So I think the longer you look over time, the more likely that is AI and technology will disrupt project management. I think also, it then depends on the type of project as well. So again, you know, the more complex a project, the longer that time horizon will be. You know, so again, without being too futuristic, certainly in 100 years, I expect robots to be building buildings. You know, we're already starting to see that experimentation. So for me, you know, we're almost the golden generation here, Mukta. So, you know, this is about making sure that you are leveraging these new technologies. And like I said, it's still relatively early days. You know, this is still nascent technology. So nobody be worried today terms of the longer term, I think the whole of project management will be disrupted, you know.
Yeah. All right. So I think that's really interesting. So, we have the immediate. So we're okay right now. We have way to the future. A lot will be disrupted. So, do you have any opinions on maybe how that might flow? Like maybe in the not so distant future,
Yeah.
which types of projects or which type of PMs do you think will be at risk?
Yeah, I think it goes back to if we go back to our efficiency and effectiveness side. So the more administrative your tasks are, the more likely that they will be automated in the shorter term.
Mhm.
So if you were a person that sits in a steering group and takes the minutes, yeah, there are less of those people that are required to do that. But it's okay in the short term. Maybe you're reskilling into Power BI or some other skill that is also required. If you're responsible, for example, of getting risk updates or schedule updates, the more that that is likely to be automated going forward. So, unfortunately, I think the early areas will be those people that are more in the administration layer that can be easily replaced, as it were, as technology tools become more efficient, as it were.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Long term, I think it's really interesting. There's this huge thing starting to happen in technology at the moment called AI agents or agentic AI, and this is crudely speaking is one bit of technology talking to another bit of technology and
Mm.
enacting decisions on the back of that, as it were. So you think about it at the moment, we come along with a project and we create a project schedule. And then manually we go to whoever's running the finance system and we set up all of the finance codes and the spend budgets and all of that. We then go to whoever's responsible for resourcing and we go and set up our demands for our resource. And then there's a whole process to gather, map the right people who are available with the right skills. We then go a bit deeper on the project and we populate the risk log, and somebody somewhere is going to have you learned the lessons from other projects. Now, if you've got something that can automatically ping, ping, ping between all those various functions, that's one less job
Yeah.
that we as project management skills would need to do. And again, some people may see that as a huge benefit. You can get to the more exciting stuff quicker rather than having to run around trying to work out what's been happening, as it were. So yeah, hopefully that answered your question, Mukta.
Yeah, no, and even just speaking about agents, I've actually seen some of these platforms, and some of them are like no code, right? You
Yes.
basically you don't need to have any coding ability, and you're just dragging and dropping, and different I don't know what the right term is, but for lack of a better word, widgets, right? So
Yes.
there's one that can maybe look at your calendar, and then if something happens, you can send it to ChatGPT, and then you can output something, in an Excel sheet, right? And it's insane. You can watch YouTube videos, and you're just dragging and dropping, and you actually have an agent, right? And this is something that I've mentioned before, because this technology is still very early, like you mentioned, and a lot of companies don't know how to use AI, how to implement AI, and that AI skill is so hot. So I
Yeah.
think that this AI agent is such a um, it's a what's the word now? It's such an opportunity to grab onto right now, because if you can learn how to use AI agents, which doesn't require coding, you'll be ahead of
Yeah.
maybe 90% of people that are out there, right? And all you have to do is just watch a couple of
Yeah.
YouTube videos and then just sign up for some platforms, and you have this skill
Yeah.
set. You know.
I totally agree with that. And I think that's a much wider point, you as an individual to stand out from the crowd. Just a quick caveat: some of those AI agents aren't quite as good as the technology purveyors are saying, but you can, and this is the beauty. It goes back to ChatGPT in a way. You know, very quickly you can stand something up that looks fantastic. You know, which is brilliant. My slight concern on that, Doctor, and hopefully there's not too many people from PMI watching. Before I'm about to say this, there was a recent training course from PMI where basically it was, you know, here's use cases and here's an application, and my concern was, well, hold on 1 second, what are you trying to do, make the project manager jack of all trades, master of none here? You know, so for me, you know, I think, depending on the organization, the control of these low code platforms hasn't quite caught up. You know, I mentioned earlier about, you know, are you actually use ChatGPT in your organization? Very hard to stop it while it's out. But the IT department hasn't quite got their heads around setting the standards. And, you know, and the other concern I have is, you know, I've been there where somebody used macros in Excel, and of course they leave the organization. You can never this critical template again. So, but as an individual, yeah, I definitely think you should be looking to embrace as much as possible the right types of technology. And I think that centers on Gen AI in the short term.
Yeah. What's one thing that you think PMs can do to stay ahead and be relevant?
Well, for me, it's, I would hope that a PM is inquisitive by nature. Certainly a good PM is inquisitive by nature, and therefore in my mind it's being inquisitive, and that can come in different levels. You know, I mentioned the PMI courses, and sorry, I was just picking on one course. They have a whole heap of great courses as well, and not just PMI, other professional bodies as well. Yeah, so upskilling yourself and being inquisitive is really important. Going to events, you know, hearing what people are saying about this type of stuff as well is really important. Listening to podcasts on you know, to various people. So all of this, I think you hit the nail on the head earlier, Mukta, is about differentiating yourself from the next person. So having relevant skills, and how do you build those skills? And like I said, I think the most obvious one is about Gen AI skills in the short term, maybe dashboarding, but again, I think dashboarding, it will be a dying trade in the medium term, as it were. So.
Yeah. And are there any resources or tools that you recommend if people want to get up to speed in terms of Gen AI?
Yeah, in terms of Gen AI, I was going to go broader than that. Gen AI, again, you know, even LinkedIn. Well, there's lots of courses on LinkedIn. There's lots of courses on YouTube. You know, just put in some searches. I almost said prompts. That's why I was hesitating there. To work out those courses. I kind of like podcasts as well. I think it's the sort of modern way, you know, sitting here on a podcast. So there's certain global people that I would suggest following. You know, so Ricardo Vargas is probably the world's #1 influencer around AI and project management. His subject matter is much more than AI as well. In the UK, we have got a chap called Mike Clayton that I adore. He's got hundreds of videos to do all sorts of things around project management as well. So there's a couple of examples there as well.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. So let me take a look at the chat, and let me just highlight some questions asked. Alan mentioned, I wonder if AI could help Chelsea do better. What do you think?
No, I know Alan. Alan is very cheeky, and the answer is now on a serious note, and Alan knows that I can be quite serious. I don't know in terms of sports, but talk about an industry that has embraced data and has embraced AI. I was, a few years ago, I was working in Wales, which is a country to the west of England. Yeah. But I was lucky enough to be invited by the BBC to sit next to the coaches of these international coaches. And the statistics that they have to their hands about every individual, current performance, past performance, tackle rate, run rate, yards won, tackles missed, is unbelievable. Formula One, there's one that's even greater in this space.
Wow.
So if you can see these sports embracing it, dare I say it, projects is lagging slightly behind.
Yeah.
Projects are embracing data. So Alan, yeah, you're naughty, but the answer is, of course they can. They should employ me to help them run their solutions.
Yeah, and maybe also to score a goal, right? The same goal you scored
Yeah, in the top
when
right.
you told
I
the
might
other.
I might be slightly out of shape now, Mukta. Just
Yeah,
slightly. I'd be lucky to manage the run from one side of the pitch to the other.
nice, nice. Ryan was asking about. Ryan was asking about some valuable examples. I think he wanted to see something more practical, and this was before we got into the more practical
Yeah.
example that you gave. So I think we addressed that.
Yeah, Ryan, if you're not a PMI member, jump on the PMI courses. That they're as good as any. LinkedIn, Ricardo did a fantastic course. It's just gone live on LinkedIn about AI agents. That's a great one to have a look at straight away. There's other courses on LinkedIn as well.
Yeah, awesome. If you have any more questions, just feel free to put them in the chat. So, Lloyd, are you open to do a lightning round?
I'll give it a go, Mukta. I'll give it a go.
Yeah.
For those that are just watching, can I tell you, Mukta dropped this question on me literally 3 minutes before we started. So I hope my answers aren't nonsense.
Let's see. Let's see. All right. Introvert or extrovert?
I think my wife would call me an extrovert. I present, I talk at conferences,
Yeah.
but Mukta, we men are complex beasts, aren't we? What goes on behind the covers. Maybe I'm an introvert and shy and all of that, but certainly to the outside world, I try and
Yeah.
be extrovert, as it were.
Yeah. Nice. There's a third option. There's the ambivert, right? So you're sort of in between, right? So
Yeah. Depends on the time of the day. I hate those. Those personality tests. Do you like rock music or do you like soul music? I'm like, it depends on the time of the day. So maybe I'm a complex person or something. Maybe I should just say, yeah, no, I prefer soul music. That's the answer that they wanted when I didn't get the graduate job. When I was 18 or whatever.
Yeah, I know. And people are doing that. I think I'm seeing more of that now. Companies are doing these personality tests before you can even do the first round of interview. And I think that's bollocks.
And live as well in these
Yeah.
type of conversations,
Yeah.
working out. And again, sorry, jumping back to my subjects, that is going to become more and more important in the world of AI and project management as well. The emotional intelligence, the personality of individuals. Once everything else is automated, then it's that leap into power skills and creativity. So people don't forget not only about your technical skills, remember about your influencing and your power skills, your soft skills as well. So sorry.
Definitely. No, definitely. What's the worst PM advice you've ever received?
So I used to work for a company. It was called Cable and Wireless Communications. They're a telecommunication provider, and I was quite young out of college, out of university, and it was one of my first ever contracts. So I was on a day rate, and I was working in the property area of this organization, and there was a project management conference, and my boss there was to do a talk, and I remember this is awful. He was slightly ridiculed anyway. He was a bit out there, as it were. A nice, but probably drank too much as well. But there you go. Anyway, he stood up and said, "This is the best advice I've ever been given as a project manager. No matter what, on any day of the week, make sure you do 5 things, Mukta. No matter what they are." People going, "Well, what do you mean? What 5 things?" Doesn't matter what they are, as long as you do 5 things. I was like, well, I got up this morning. That's one. I cleaned my teeth. That was two. I ate breakfast. I've won. I've won the battle. I've done 5 things.
Yeah.
But yeah, never mind. I hope he bless him. He was a lovely fella, but for me that didn't work at all.
Nice.
No
Yeah.
value there. So.
A for effort. Yeah, no, that's nice. 5 things. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
5,
exactly.
just
Yeah.
5 things. Right. Nice.
Just
Awesome.
5 things, and you're gonna have a good day.
Yeah. Awesome. So we've reached the end of this podcast interview. So Lloyd, it was so good having you. So why don't you tell people how they can reach out to you if they want to get in touch with you?
Yeah. First of all, thank you so much, Mukhtar. And I know that we haven't covered all the questions. I talk far too much sometimes, and of course you were so entertaining as well of some of the things I was saying. The best way to get hold of me is LinkedIn. I'm a big LinkedIn user. Please do follow me or follow greyfly.ai, and there's lots and lots of material either on LinkedIn or back on our host site. But to get hold of me, please just link in with me.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much, Lloyd, and thank you all for watching. See you all soon. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.